Sticking with politics now, it was a fundraising email that seemed to come from an alternate reality. The Trump campaign claiming there is a, quote, incredible Donald Trump surge happening across the nation in an email that went out under the name of Eric Trump, the nominee's son. The campaign built this animated graphic from this map, pulled from Nate Silver's 538.com. It shows Trump running up the scoreboard against Clinton, beating her by a wider margin than President Obama bested Mitt Romney. But here's the problem with it. That graphic used in the Trump campaign email looked at an alternate universe where only men were polled, where only men voted. From Nate Silver's 538.com website. If you look at only women, according to Silver's forecasts, Clinton would win by a wide margin as well. Silver's conclusion from all the polling data is pretty straightforward. Quote, it seems fair to say that if Trump loses the election, it will be because women voted against him. Let's talk about this and more with CNN political commentators S.E. Cupp and former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm. So the response today, first of all, let me just say, this feels like a real moment for women in America, not just what happened with Roger Ailes and Bill Cosby, but just the idea that, like, holy cow, this stuff happens, and it happens a lot.
Michelle Obama's speech today was remarkable because it spoke for so many of us. I'm sure you probably agree with me on this, right?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it was so powerful because we have all been in those circumstances, and we've all, maybe not everyone, but we've certainly, a lot of us have encountered these buffoons who think they can come in and take over, including take over our physical space. That speech was just remarkable, perfect.
And it was remarkable because thus far in the campaign, no one else has really been able to deliver that kind of message the way she did. Hillary Clinton is sort of a flawed vessel for delivering that kind of message, and maybe that's not her fault, but that's just the fact. So it took Michelle Obama to come out and say what we've all been thinking, that this is not okay. And I heard it directed as much to men as I did to women. In fact, that this is not all men.
Right. That's, I think, a really important point.
I don't want to interrupt, but let's let Michelle Obama interrupt.
It's one of countless examples of how he has treated women his whole life. And I have to tell you that I listen to all of this, and I feel it so personally. And I'm sure that many of you do too, particularly the women. The shameful comments about our bodies, the disrespect of our ambitions and intellect, the belief that you can do anything you want to a woman, it is cruel. It's frightening. And the truth is, it hurts.
One of the problems I hear in the response from the Trump campaign, and Trump just calling them liars, and in fact seeming to suggest, although you heard Kayleigh McEnany dispute this, that, like, look at her, that sounded to me like, look at her, I would never grab her. Is that this is resonating with so many women. I'm sure even many women who are inclined to vote for Donald Trump, and it just seems so tone deaf.
Well, I don't want to sound glib, but I don't think the best defense is to say she's too unattractive for me to have sexually assaulted. That doesn't seem to take this seriously. And I don't think that sounds good to most women. But what I also saw on that stage, in addition to sort of the death spiral of a campaign, was a child. I mean, a fully formed human understands the seriousness of the times, the seriousness of these allegations, the serious trouble that your campaign is in, and yet he cannot resist the frat boy joke. Look at her. In the midst of all of this, the basic self-restraint and self-control and self-awareness that you want adolescents to get, I don't think he has that.
It's truly a serious personality disorder, I think. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but anybody looking at him can see that his narcissism, he was born with a silver spoon. He has never had to fight for anything. It's all been given to him. And now he assumes that he's God's gift to women, that he walks in. And of course, if he comes and kisses you on the lips, you want it. It's just so utterly insulting. But I just wanted to get back to Michelle Obama's speech for just 1 second, because the thing that was so important, and the thing that's important about this apparent gender divide, is that what he is doing in going hard after the white male vote assumes that all the white males are going to go in that direction. And Michelle Obama was so beautifully clear in saying, this is not the men that I know. This is not the men in my family. So many of us felt that way. My father would be just horrified by this. My husband, horrified. So there's all these great men out there who have daughters and who have mothers and sisters who would be just as horrified as a lot of the women.
So let me bring up something uncomfortable that the Trump people are bringing up, and I don't know that it's completely unfair of them to do so, which is, did the left and the media and many feminists take too lightly the accusations against Bill Clinton in the 1990s, the accusations of rape from Juanita Broaddrick and assault and harassment from Kathleen Willey and Paula Jones?
I think without a question. You know, what's interesting is Republicans before Trump used to claim the moral high ground on issues of morality, bedroom stuff. Maybe they didn't always deserve it. But they at least would say, the argument would go, well, if it happens on their side, we're still morally outraged. If it happens on our side, we're still morally outraged about it. They're not. The party that has supported Donald Trump, and forgetting some people that have denounced this, the party has no moral outrage for this. And it's exactly what we condemned the Clinton supporters and Democrats of in the 90s. Where is your moral outrage? You seem to just dismiss this so willingly as if it's just this frivolous non-controversy. Well, now Republicans no longer have that moral high ground because they're doing the same thing with Donald Trump.
Governor, let me ask you, if I can, just because I want your thoughts on this. Obviously, there are a lot of people out there who are opposed to Hillary Clinton because they disagree with her, they don't agree with her principles, and maybe they think ill of her. Do you feel that there is also a component of this that is just completely rooted in misogyny and sexism?
I think that Donald Trump is playing that violin, is playing that chord so hard that he really wants to get the male vote to counteract his loss of women, and that this divide that he is stoking is very real. And yeah, I think there is a lot of misogyny and a lot of sexism embedded in it. And all you have to do is look both at his behavior and his words, and the words and behaviors of the people who are surrounding him, who apparently think it's perfectly fine for him to continue on this.
And the shirts sold at his rallies.
Look at the stuff that's on there. It's disgusting. And yes, it is hardcore misogyny. But then again, not all men. They're good men like you, Jake, and all the people who we know who are not in that camp. So
we'll get a fact check on that.
Don't make this man president.
We're going to get a fact check on calling me a good man on Twitter any second now. Governor Granholm, SE Cup, thank you so much.